Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
It's a strong close to the trading week on Dalal Street. The Nifty nears the 10,000 mark and the Sensex gains 160 points. For the week, the market gains in 4 out of 5 sessions as MIDCAPs outperform. The auto sector shrugs off the GST slowdown as August sales hit top gear. Maruti beats expectations along with Eicher Motors and Ashok Leyland. M&M's tractor sales clock healthy gains as well. 4 ministers confirmed their resignation as Prime Minister Modi gears up to reshuffle his cabinet on Sunday. Sources say Nitin Gadkari, Piyush Goyal and Dharmendra Pradhan are likely to be promoted.
I don't think that a national party should sort of pat itself on the back and say that, our voting share has gone up.
Congress leader Kapil Sibal slams his party colleagues for celebrating a 3rd place finish in the Bawana by-poll, says leadership issues in the party will soon be resolved. Rajiv Kumar replaces Arvind Panagaria as the vice chairman of the government's think tank Niti Aayog, says policy making must be a participative and not an elitist activity. The Adani Group ties up with Swedish defense major Saab to manufacture the Gripen E fighter jet in India. The partner is set to bid for India's single-engine fighter jet deal. Former Infosys chairman R. Seshasai hits back at Narayana Murthy, calls Murthy's charges quoting an anonymous whistleblower as slanderous and patently offensive. Aditya Birla Capital lists at 237 rupees, which is way above market expectations, but trading stops as the stock falls 5% below the pre-open price. After the divestment department's nudge, 5 rail PSUs expected to submit their draft red herring prospectus to SEBI in a month's time. The government keen to list 3 PSUs this fiscal. That's an exclusive. Those were the headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. You're watching CNBC TV18. I'm Arundhati Ramnan and this is Reporter's Diary. First up, to all the market action of the day, Dalal Street ended the week on a positive note. The Nifty ended close to the 10,000 mark, while the Sensex closed 160 points higher. Now, the bank stocks mirrored the benchmark indices, while the mid-caps continued their fine run and outperformed yet again to close 1.25% in the green. Auto sales have spiked in August, recovering well from the aftermath of the goods and services tax rollout. Now, industry biggies like Maruti Suzuki, Ashok Leyland and Eicher Motors have recorded more than 20% growth in sales. But Bajaj Auto has seen some weak growth. Naveen Shetty has been looking at the data and he joins us now with the breakdown. Naveen, how are the numbers stacking up?
Well, the street cheered the auto sales numbers across all segments. In fact, all companies also. Ashok Leyland, that was the biggest surprise. The CV sales jumped by 25%. In fact, the M&H CV, that is where the increase by 29%, which overall aided the numbers also. This is majorly because of the restocking that is happening post-GST. On the other hand, Eicher Motors, steady as steady can be. The total sales for the Royal Enfield jumped by 22%. And the bulk of the sales happened in the sub-350cc segment. If you see Maruti also, the street was building in an expectation of close to 22%. 24% is what Maruti delivered in terms of their overall PV sales. Bajaj Auto, tepid expectations ahead of the sales numbers, but they surprised positively. The overall sales jumped by 3%, but exports, remember, the management was cautiously optimistic on their export sales. That came in as a big positive surprise of up by 7% in terms of the exports. Escorts was more or less known. So restocking post the GST, because of which you see the total sales jumping by 23%. Coming on to M&M, tractor sales over here, that has been quite a big positive. 22% versus the street expectation of almost 18% growth. Also, if you see the automotive segment, that has been more or less steady, 4% growth. Street was expecting around 5%, but yeah, still there was some cheer that we had seen on the stock. Coming on to Tata Motors, big surprise, total sales up 14%, led by CV segment. CV segment as in a whole grew by 34%. Why? Because their M&H CV segment, which was working on a low base in the base year, that saw a jump of close to 52%. Overall, strong set of numbers by automakers, and that is one reason why you saw most of the stocks up in trade today. Back to you.
All right, Naveen, thank you so much for those details. Now, the decks have been cleared for Tata Motors to bid for the government's electric car tender. In a big relief for the auto major, state-owned energy efficiency services is believed to have relaxed the norms. Sources say EESL has now reduced the length requirement for the cars, making Tata Motors eligible to bid for the tender for 10,000 electric cars. Now, this move comes after the auto major complained that the bidding norms were in favor of rival Mahindra & Mahindra. Remember, CNBC TV18 was the first channel to report last week that Tata Motors had raised concerns over the tender requirements. Days after Infosys co-founder N.R. Narayana Murthy launched a scathing attack on the previous Infosys board, slamming them for poor governance, today it was the turn of former chairman R. Seshasai to respond. Seshasai, in a statement that was sent to exchanges, hit back at Murthy. He said that Murthy's statement to the investors on the 28th of August misleadingly attributes words to him that are taken completely out of context, making it appear that he was not stating the truth. Seshasai regretted that Murthy's campaign on the alleged governance lapses has continually slipped into personal attacks and slander on individual board members. Seshasai also responded to Murthy's reiteration that a whistleblower had alleged that in the AGM in July, Seshasai had lied about the reason for payments made to the ex-CFO Rajiv Bansal. Seshasai said, and I quote, to quote an anonymous whistleblower letter that alleged many things which have subsequently been proved baseless and false through multiple investigations by highly respected counsel in order to give an impression to the audience that I lied to the shareholders is patently offensive, end quote. John Echmendy, former director of Infosys, also backed Seshasai. He said that Seshasai, as he is known in the circle, is a man of impeccable integrity. Echmendy said, and I quote, I am fully conversant with the details of the Rajiv Bansal issue, and I can categorically state that at no point did Sesh say anything in public or to the best of my knowledge in private that was untrue or did not reflect the collective view of the board, end quote. Now, another former, Jeffrey Lehman, too defended Seshasai. He said, and I quote, I wish Mr. Murthy would stop defaming Mr. Seshasai and the other members of a board who have served with dedication and integrity, who have turned the other cheek when slandered, and who have acted only in the best interests of the company. And moving on, the Union Cabinet is set to get a makeover. Sources within the government and the NDA tell us that a cabinet reshuffle is expected on the 3rd of September, just before Prime Minister Narendra Modi leaves for China for the BRICS summit. Ahead of the cabinet rejig, some of the ministers have already resigned. That list includes Ganga Rejuvenation Minister Uma Bharti and Skill Development Minister Rajiv Pratap Rudy. CNN News 18's Pallavi Ghosh joins us with more on these developments. Pallavi, what are the expectations? Who gets which portfolio?
Our team of reporters have drawn up a list of what's really going to happen in the big cabinet reshuffle on Sunday. So let's go through what exactly is going to be happening when that cabinet reshuffle is going to take place. Who's going to be in, who's going to be promoted, and who's going to be out. Nitin Gadkari. Now, Nitin Gadkari is very important. As he pointed out, Rajiv Pratap Rudy has already given in his resignation. Uma Bharti, the Water Resources Minister, and someone who's a high-profile minister from Madhya Pradesh, a face from Madhya Pradesh, she's also is going to likely to resign. Sanjeev Balyan, also MOS Water Resources, offers to resign. He's of course made a statement saying he's going to go by what the party tells him. Kalraj Mishra, Small and Medium Enterprises Minister, is also could be on his way out. He also fits into that slab of over 70 years. So that could be one reason. Fagan Singh Kulastik, MOS Health, also resigns. These are the people who are expected to be dropped out of this cabinet, which means many of them perhaps could make their way to the organization because there are important state elections which are coming up as well. But just to go back to who's likely to be in and also likely to be promoted, this is what we've drawn up for you. First of all, Nitin Gadkari, a very successful road transport minister. He's likely to get the railway ministry. In fact, the speculation is that both the ministries in a first could actually be combined as a crucial infrastructure missionary. The other person to watch out for is someone as Piyush Goyal. He is MOS Power. He's also seen as a very good performer, and he could be elevated to get a cabinet rank. Apart from that is the other key factor of the finance and the defense minister, Arun Jaitley. And as he has himself pointed out that he's likely to lose the defense portfolio. Just a quick recap, he has been twice over got additional charge of the defense ministry. Apart from that, Ashok Gajapati Raju, there have been question marks over his performance as the Civil Aviation Minister. He is likely to be replaced as the Civil Aviation Minister. So these are the few names which are being drawn up. The focus, of course, is going to be on performance.
All right, Pallavi, thank you so much for that. Now, senior Congress leader and Rajya Sabha MP Kapil Sibal has slammed his party colleagues for celebrating a third-place finish in the recent Bhawan by-poll in Delhi. Speaking to Shireen Bhan, Sibal said the Congress party needs to rejuvenate itself by going back to its roots and fighting back based on ideology. Sibal also said that leadership issues in the party will be resolved very soon.
I think we must work on the ground. In fact, I am very, very disturbed by the fact that in the recent elections, very recent elections, in Delhi, for example,
yes,
in Bhavana,
yeah.
we were number 3, and we are ecstatic about the fact that our vote share has gone up. I don't think that a national party should sort of pat itself on the back and say that, you know, our voting share has gone up.
You're disappointed. People like Jairam Ramesh talk about the existential dilemma and existential crisis that the Congress finds itself in. But then why is it that senior leaders of the Congress party, like yourselves, like Jairam Ramesh, are not able to change the narrative, are not able to actually articulate what the strategy is going to be going forward? This has to be a collective exercise, and all of us, I think that all congressmen, young and old, where are the young? Where are the young?
Experienced and not so experienced, and some of the young are very, very, very good in our party. I think all of us would get together and say ask ourselves the question: is this the Congress of 1950?
When is this introspection? When is this moment of sort of consultative, participative democracy going to result in a decision?
It will come about. It has to happen. Nobody can stop it, because Congress party is not just a political party. It is a movement. You know, it
doesn't look like either a movement or a political party today.
It may not. But I think that we need to energize the party by going back to the principles on the basis of which Congress stood, and that sense of self-sacrifice.
Any time before 2019, you think?
I think immediately.
Immediately?
Immediately.
Is there something that is being worked on at this point in time?
It's not a question. I think that all right-thinking congressmen are thinking about this and saying to themselves, it's time for the Congress to about this, and saying to themselves, it's time for the Congress to fight on the basis of ideology, and and we will not let this legacy
leadership
down. No matter what happens, we will not let this legacy. So leadership comes from the party, right? And those issues will also be resolved. I have no problems with that. But I think we must sustain the legacy of the Congress party.
Is it time for a change of leadership?
Well, I'm not going to say, don't get me involved in individual questions.
Okay.
That's not the point. But it's time for us to regain the legacy of the party.
And you believe...
To revitalize it, to re-energize it.
And you think that this is likely to happen...
It has to happen.
But you feel confident about it? Because as
I'm
I said,
confident.
you know, people like you, people like Mr. Ramesh, people like Mr. Chidambaram have been talking about this,
Yes,
but yet we haven't seen any changes on the ground.
I'm confident it'll happen.
You're confident it'll happen?
I have no doubts about it.
And on that note, it is time for us to take a short break. But coming up, the Adani Group ties up with Swedish defense major Saab. All those details on the other side of this short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Reporter's Diary. We told you yesterday, and it is now confirmed, Sweden's Saab is going to tie up with the Adani Group to bid for defense deals in India. The focus will be on its Gripen fighter jet aircraft. The partnership will compete with US aerospace major Lockheed Martin to win a potential order for single-engine jets. Now, the idea is to locally manufacture the fighter planes under the Make in India initiative. Speaking to reporters today, Saab CEO Hakan Bushke made a case for its latest fighter, the Gripen E, while Gautam Adani announced that the Swedish company will also transfer technology to India. Here are those comments.
Cooperate with credible and committed global partners like Saab, who are willing to team up for the long term and willing to transfer state-of-the-art technology and skills. Gripen is a modern, multi-role fighter aircraft featuring state-of-the-art technology and will be offered to the Indian government as one of the best solutions for India's single-engine fighter aircraft.
Well, first of all, of course, we focus on the fighter jet. But as I said down there, we will also make other projects. So we will do more than the Gripen, and we will start with the things that we know already that we can materialize. Then, of course, it's a tender process. We need to really please, in the end of the day, the user and the government here to feel that they are investing in the right way. And that I think we can really do in a good way together with Adani.
On to the latest from Essar Steel's NPA resolution attempt. CNBC TV18 learns that the company's insolvency resolution professional has asked lenders to stop taking loan repayments for the next 6 months, as a resolution is expected for the company's 45,000 crore debt by then. Ritu Singh, who first reported on the story earlier this week, joins in with the latest. Ritu, doesn't seem like the lenders would be comfortable with this proposal?
That's right. Lenders are not very comfortable with the two proposals that have come forward from the insolvency resolution professional of Essar Steel, which is Alvarez and Marcel, where Satish Gupta has been appointed the IRP in this particular case. To start with, there's 45,000 crores of debt already on the books of all of these consortium of lenders that is headed by State Bank of India. What the IRP has proposed that for the next 6 months, the lenders do not take any sort of loan repayment from the company, which means a little bit of a tagging that they were doing with the account by taking out a portion of the EBITDA and the money that the company was making through its operations to repay its debt obligations is something that they will not get while the case is in the NCLT. For instance, in the last 1 year alone, the lenders have received 2,400 crore rupees by this tagging activity where they've been withdrawing funds from the company's accounts. But the second proposal also, which has not gone down too well with the lenders, is about 800 crores of interim financing that the IRP has sought. Remember, this is the financing which will get priority funding, and therefore it will be repaid first, even before the other secured lenders get their dues. This will be used to run the company's operations over the next 6 months, while again it is an NCLT. Both these proposals are being considered by the lenders, but as we understand, they're not comfortable with either of them and have sought more time from the IRP to get back to them on this.
All right, Ritu, thank you for those details. That note, it's time for another break, but coming up, 5 rail PSUs expected to submit their DRHP to the SEBI in a month. Details on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Reporters Diary. 5 railway public sector undertakings are all set to pull into station Dalal Street. CNBC TV18 learns these 5 PSUs are likely to submit their draft red herring prospectus to market regulator SEBI within a month. Now, a DRHP is an offer document where the company that is planning to raise money from the public provides detailed information about its business operations and financials. Ashpreet Sethi, who broke that story earlier today, joins us now. Ashpreet, which are these 5 rail PSUs and how many of these can we expect to be listed this fiscal?
Well, yes, that's what we are picking up from sources at the Railway Ministry, that as far as listing of 3 railway PSUs is concerned, that will be done by the end of this fiscal. We are also picking up from sources that the divestment department has asked all 5 railway PSUs to go ahead and submit their draft red herring prospectus to SEBI within a month. That's the kind of deadline that we are looking at. The 5 railway PSUs are RITES, Rail Vikas Nigam, IRFC, IRCTC and IRCON. Remember, the bid managers were appointed last month itself, which includes ICICI Securities, IDBI, SBI Cap. Now, they have been given the task of submitting the red herring prospectus to SEBI within a month. As far as how much will the government be able to garner as far as listing of these rail PSUs is concerned, that is not clear as of now, because they're waiting for SEBI to give its final nod.
So 5 rail PSUs to submit the DRHP in a month. Thank you so much for those details, Ashpreet. Now, TTK Group has filed an application with the insurance regulatory body, IRDA, to sell its entire 51% stake in Cigna TTK to Manipal Group. Yash Jain is joining us with those details. Yash, how much is the TTK Group likely to raise from this?
Well, certainly a very important development as far as Cigna TTK health insurance is concerned. The company, through a press statement, has said that TTK Group, which is the Indian partner in this health insurance JV, has decided to sell its entire 51% stake in Cigna TTK Health. Now, an application for this 51% stake sale from the TTK Group has already been filed with the insurance regulator IRDA, and the company expects to receive a final nod for this 51% stake sale by the insurance regulator somewhere around current calendar year end. In terms of the limited contours which we have from this deal, TTK Group is expected to raise anywhere approximately 250 crore from this 51% stake sale, and this transaction will value Cigna TTK health insurance at around 500 crore.
All right, Yash, thank you so much for those details. And with that, it is a wrap on this edition of Reporter's Diary. Many thanks for watching, but stay tuned to CNBC TV18. An exclusive conversation with the chairman of Aditya Birla Group, Kumar Mangalam Birla, is on the other side.